folks, and welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. We are in the process of insulating my shop. This is part 3. We're currently about 25 hours into this project. I am definitely glad that I started it when I did. I wish I was done already because it's currently 12 degrees outside. We're holding at about 35 inside right now with my heater running back here, and this little tiny heater here doesn't do much, but it tells me the temperature. But that's running right now at 7,500 watts. It has a switch to go from 5,000 watts to 7,500 watts. But if that thing runs constantly at 7,500 watts, it costs me $18 a day to run full 24 hours a day right now, from what I calculated anyway. So I've got a urgent need to get the rest of this building insulated, so that bad boy runs a lot less than it is right now. So my focus is, I've got a lot of wood up, and my focus for getting this wood up was to get some of this lighting taken care of, get that furnace hung as quickly as possible, so because I knew the cold weather was coming. So now my biggest focus is just finishing up insulating. So I'm going to concentrate all my efforts on getting insulation in all the walls, and then I'll go back and put the OSB on. But first and foremost, let's get this bad boy sealed up so I can start saving some money on electricity for heating this joint. And because spending that kind of money to keep it at about 35 is not good, because we've got a lot of tin here, and it's just a giant heat sink. But yeah, you can hear the old furnace running behind me now. But that's a good sound, because that's blowing heat and keeping it tolerable for me. So I'm out here in just a regular long sleeve shirt, and my good old rabbit skin hat, and it keeps me warm enough that I can work out here without my hands getting cold. If they do get a little chilly, now I got that nice furnace to put them up in front of and just warm them up, take the edge off. But let's get busy. I got a lot of work to do, and I want to try to get this. I'd love to get the rest of this building insulated by this coming weekend. But today is Tuesday. Did a little bit last night, just got this little bit done here last night, you see, along that wall. My biggest goal is to seal up this upper edge. This upper edge is wide open as far as where air can flow, and the heat, I can't trap the heat because the heat goes up and just goes right out. But so that's one thing I want to work around the perimeter to get that upper edge sealed. Once that upper edge is sealed, it'll hold some more temperature. Then I'll finish the ceiling, which will hold the heat from getting out of the ceiling. Then I can work down the walls. So that's going to be my mode of attack, I believe, in order to make this thing work or get it done. So let's get after it. Let's get into hyper mode, and let's get it done. Alright, occasionally when you're woodworking, you're going to end up getting some a splinter. As you can see right here, that's that whole brown streak there is a splinter I shoved under the skin. I don't think it's too deep. I think I can dig it out here. We're going to take this little splinter out and tear open a little skin. Let's see if we can expose it here. I want to go a little deeper. Hoping I get it out in one piece. It's a lot deeper than I anticipated. Well, since I could see it so well, it was near the surface, but okay. There it is. That wasn't so bad. Looks like I got it all. Isn't it funny how something so small can be so uncomfortable, huh? Well, now we can get back to work. I was starting to get uncomfortable after being under there for about an hour. So it's time to come in anyway, so we cleaned up. I can't tell if that, I think that's just where it went in. Yeah, that don't look like splinter there. Hard to tell right there though. I think that's just stained from where it went in because it went in this direction, went across. All right, good. I'll let that heal up while we get back to work. Okay, folks, we're moving right along with this project. We're making some pretty good headway. Ran out of materials as far as the foam board goes, because the foam board is what I'm putting against the exterior wall as a moisture barrier. I ran out of that, so I went ahead and calculated up the rest of the foam board I needed to finish the rest of the shop and the rest of the insulation I needed. My goal today is to get all the insulation up in the shop, so the shop is basically sealed off with insulation, and then I can go back to putting up the OSB. I was talking in my previous video how I was working my way through by doing the OSB and the foam board or the insulation, foam board insulation OSB, and just working my way around the shop. So as I got to the end, it would be basically done. Well, I changed my plan a little bit, basically because it got bitterly cold out, and it was running. The furnace was having to run a lot. More than I wanted to, so I was trying to save myself a few dollars by just going ahead and let's just finish up the insulation. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get all the insulation up. The shop will be warm enough then I can run it without it costing me an arm and a leg in the electric bill department. The furnace is running really good. It's cycling. I'm going to, once I get the rest of the insulation up, I'm going to keep track of how much it's cycling with the temperature outside, and I'll be able to get an idea of what it's going to cost me to operate this on a monthly basis. But I've got went out and picked up my materials, so we're going to bring that materials inside. We're going to stay after getting the installation done. I've got one little thing I want to show you. I've got to take my garage door opener and my garage door track. So this was a 10-foot wide door, but it was 5 panels tall originally. Well, I didn't have enough room for 5 panels and an opener and the track in my shop with the ceiling. My ceiling was only 10 foot high at the front. So that presents a problem now that I want to insulate, is my garage door opener and my track is running up into my ceiling area. So, and since I took one panel out from 5 to 4, I'm going to reduce the height of my track. I've got to unwind my spring and readjust everything and bring it down so that it's all below ceiling height is the plan. So, in order to do that, I've got to shorten things up. I can't really tell for sure, but I'm thinking I can go down a solid 10 or 12 inches, which will get my garage door opener down below the ceiling level and my tracks below the ceiling level, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So one thing I would recommend though is I would not recommend working on your garage yourself, and I'm going to show you why. This particular opener has a double torsion spring here, and a double torsion spring can be very, very, very dangerous. And because if you don't work it properly or unwind it properly, it'll get away from you and it could hurt you, maim you. I would hope it wouldn't kill you, but it could happen if it hits you wrong. But so what I've got to do, you can see how much straight I have right here above the opener, above the door. So I'm basically going to cut that. So we get here from there down to here. So I'll measure that distance and I'll be able to bring everything down. The other thing I'll have to do is remount. As you can see, my opener goes way up there, and I've got to remount my spring. I got to remount a whole bunch of stuff here. I've got to remount. So, but I bought some 2x4 studs so I can create some more studs in here, so I can have an area to mount things solidly to once I do that. So that's going to slow down my installation process there. So I'm going to get this insulated, that insulated, and then I'm going to go to town on this door and get that done, and then I'll finish completing around to this side of the wall here that I've got to do yet. And then I've still got the ceiling. I've actually put up a couple of pieces up in this half, and I still got 4 pieces I need to put on the front half yet of the ceiling. So we got a little ways to go yet, but my goal is today to wrap up as much of this as possible. And some of it takes some time because I have to move cabinets and some other stuff I have hanging on the walls. But as I'm going around the walls, I'm cleaning up, I'm purging some of the stuff I don't need and trying to make it work for me. So anyway, let's get after unloading the stuff I got on the trailer because I need it to finish up this side. And then we'll come in here and get after wrapping it up to the door, and then we'll start working on the door. Okay, one other thing I want to share with you. I picked up me some exciting new stuff today. What I have here behind me, see if you can see it here. If I get down there. This shop vac I've had since 1984. It's been around that long. My parents got me for it when I was in my first apartment and I had my first little shop going on in my garage. They'd given it to me for Christmas. I believe it was in 1984, Christmas. Yeah, I believe that's what had happened. But the shop vac still works great. It's been working great for all these years. I've picked up just about everything with it. Water, glass, just about everything that can be put through the hose on a shop vac. So I went and picked up a new piece, new floor piece. I'll show you. This one's been around since 1984. This used to have wheels on it that sat right in here. Those have long been worn away. They used to have a metal strip that sat on there. That's been worn away. It's actually, this piece here has been split. I've been using this way for a long time. And I always keep my shop floor pretty clean. I use this to clean up. I finally got me a new one. And it doesn't have wheels, but I'll guarantee you, I'll wear this down. I'll wear all this out before, in the next maybe 20 more years. It's been around a long time. I hate to say goodbye to it, but it's time. So we'll throw that away. The other thing I replaced, my brush. You can see the brush is kind of worn out there. And this is nice for scrubbing. I do a lot of dusting with it out in the shop. So I bought a replacement. And I hope it's as good as that one. But I bought me a new one. We'll see if I like it. It's got a 90 degree versus the 45 the other one had. So time will tell. But I think it's going to be kind of handy because usually when I'm doing stuff, it's at a 90 degree angle. Cleaning out the cobwebs in the windows out in the shop and whatnot. So out with the old, in with the new. The one thing I've never had for my shop vac, and it's a Craftsman shop vac. Nice thing is the 2.5 inch hose stuff that they sell for the shop vac brand. Boom. Fits my shop vac. I had to get a knife a hold of this guy. But I've never had one of these. Looks like well, what I'm going to use it for anyway is a carpet tool for a vehicle. Has a shape like that for a vehicle. It looks like carpet floors and whatnot. I'm going to use it for vacuuming out my boat and keep my boat clean. That's what that's going to come in handy for. So yeah. So I got those 3 accessories. Oh, still using the old 2-piece extension for it. But when I got me a new hose and also got me a handle piece for the hose. So the original hose has been gone for about 8 years now. We replaced it about 8 years ago. The old hose is still pretty good. I'm going to hang on to it. But I bought a new one while I was there because I never know when I'm going to damage it. It could happen. But yeah, I got a handle now, so when I'm vacuuming, it's just like a Dyson. Okay, it's better than a Dyson because I'm using it in my shop. So anyway, I like to keep things cleaned up, and while I've been cleaning as I go, and I thought, well, I better upgrade my accessories here so I can continue to keep it clean as I go. Anyway, yeah, nobody should be that excited about shop vac accessories. It's okay. That's just things I like. And this is kind of interesting on this end. Let's see how this fits. It's got like a little rubber piece there. Kind of lets it roll around a little bit in there. So I can use my handle, and I can put this on the end of the wand even and stand up while I clean my boat floors even. So, I like it. Alright. Anyway, that's a quick update on my shop vac. Like I said, you do the math. 1984 to now, been a long time. Still running. And it's on all plastic. It's a 5 peak horsepower, 16-gallon shop vac. Had it forever. I was looking at newer shop vacs. It's like, but why? This one still works, so why get rid of it? Just buy a few accessories and save myself about $125 and keep on trucking. Until the motor burns up, there's no reason to get rid of it. So, and I don't think the motor's going to give up anytime soon. So thank you, folks. Let's get after. We got a lot of insulation to finish up here. Let's get it done. So that was just a quick break. Shop vac break, we'll call it. going to show you real quickly what I did here. So this spring is still loose. I haven't put any tension on it yet, but you see I painted a stripe on it. I kind of matched the original stripe with the gray paint. And what you do is you wind this thing up until I get 8 stripes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you got 8 stripes on it, that's when I know I've got the right amount of tension on that spring to lift the door, because this is an insulated door. And I got to do the second spring over here. So we're going to do that next. Then we'll try the lifting the door and see how well it works. All I got left is above the door, above the entry door, and that section of wall to get insulation on, and then the overhead. So, all right, folks. Wow, it sounds sound dead in here now when I talk. There's no echo because all this insulation is all around me now. But as you can see, I've got the insulation down the one east wall, and I've got it to the garage door on the south wall there. I haven't gone past the garage door yet, but I did get the garage door all fixed up so far. I think I'm gonna have to readjust the springs one more time. I'm not quite happy with how the door's hanging. It's starting to hang a little crooked, but I noticed that the pulleys weren't quite even on the cables, so they're not pulling evenly. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is take the tension back off the springs one more time, make sure the pulleys are even before I start putting the tension on it again. So I'm learning as I go, but I'm gonna call this the end of part 3. We'll pick up part 4 with working above the door, finishing off this section right here, right there. Between the door, we'll put some insulation there. We'll go across the door. So we'll call it a day. I've been at it all day today. I am pooped. It's time to go in and take a hot shower and relax for 10 minutes. My head will hit the pillow. I'll be out in 10 minutes. I'll guarantee it. It's been a long day. But we got a lot done. I feel pretty happy with things. The furnace is keeping up well. Every time I put up a little more insulation, the furnace is cycling just a little bit less and a little bit less. This open 10 over here is almost like having a door open as far as letting cold air in. But this corner back here is staying warm. And when I was working up near the ceiling up here, it actually got hot. That's why I'm in short sleeves right now, because it got a little warm. I took my long sleeve shirt off. But I'm pretty tickled with how things are going. We're going to keep moving forward. Stay tuned for part 4 where we finish off the insulation, and then we'll start doing some studies on outside temperature and the inside temperature and the cycling, how often it cycles. So I can get kind of an estimate of how much it's going to cost me to run that furnace compared to the temperature outside. Like right now, it's running about 50 degrees in here, which is plenty warm for me anyway. That's the temperature I work best at, is about 50 degrees, so I don't get overheated, and so I still can take my hat off, let a little more hot air out of my head. So, all right, folks, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 4. Get out there and do something fun. This is fun for me because I'm finally going to have a heated shop in the winter. I'm not going to get cabin fever this year like I did last year. Last year, I went stir crazy, but this year, I'm not, because I can retreat out here, work on a project, weld. I can work on a boat, which is kind of a relief because I can work on summertime stuff, which is a big plus for me. If I'm working on my boat, I'm thinking about spring, and it helps stave off the cabin fever. So, but you guys have fun. See you on part 4. Michael out.